everyone, welcome to my channel. I'm Mimi Midnight and I teach pole dancing through a sensual perspective. I've created this beginner series for you to help you get started on your pole journey. So whether you're brand new to pole or just starting out, you're in the right place. In lesson 1, we will be going over all the foundational moves you need to know in order to start doing static spins. Before we get started, make sure you warm up. So pause this video and click on the link below in the description to do your warm-up. Then come back here and join me and we'll get started. All right, hopefully you actually did the warm-up. We're gonna get started with learning how to find the centripetal force in pole dancing. And now this is the #1 thing that you need to learn and you will use in everything that you do. So first, let's take a walk around the pole. Grab the pole with one hand, take a walk around the pole. Just walk like you would normally every day. Now, slide that hand 1 foot down, bring the feet closer into the pole, and lean your head away from the pole. You can have 2 hands on the pole if your hands are pretty slippery, or you can use just 1 hand. Now, keeping your feet close to the pole, take a walk around. You should feel this force pulling you around the pole, and that is the centripetal force. So let's do that one more time. See if you feel the difference. Hand is up high, taking a walk around the pole, just normally. Now slide that hand down, bring the feet in, lean away, take a walk around the pole. On to step 2. So we will be learning how to enter your static spins. It's the same thing as the centripetal force. We're looking for that force and leaning into it and using that force to take our spin around. So first step would be to slide the hand down, keep the feet close, lean away. And from here, you can have 2 hands on the pole or you can just use 1. We're going to find that centripetal force and lean into it, fall into it. Take a step with a foot, any foot, to catch yourself. All right, step 3. We will be learning a dip spin. So a dip spin is essentially all the things we did, putting them together. We're taking the outside foot and replacing the inside foot with the outside foot. So if my outside foot is the one that's going to take the step around, it will be replacing my inside foot. So hand comes down, we lean away, 2 hands on the pole or 1 hand, taking that outside foot, we're gonna lean forward, and I'm going to replace that inside foot with the outside foot. So you'll notice my legs kind of wrap around the pole. They wrap around to replace that foot. If you mess up and you accidentally step with your inside foot, that's okay. That is also a static spin. All right, common mistakes that I see all the time. The first one is not finding the centripetal force. So hand is usually really high, no force here. It's only out here. When someone's hand is really high, I see that they want to jump into their spin. So they'll launch into their spin to try and get around the pole. This is not that safe on your shoulder. I wouldn't recommend doing any sort of jumping into your spin until you are much more advanced and you have that shoulder control and awareness. The second thing I see people do all the time is they'll use that outside leg and swing it around to get the momentum instead of finding the centripetal force in our lean. And while there's nothing particularly wrong with that, it doesn't teach you how to find the centripetal force, which is so key to everything that we do in pole dancing. So in order to break that habit, think about leaning into your spin and not swinging into your spin. On to my favorite part of this lesson. We will be using sensuality to refine our movements. And make sure you watch to the end so you can see just how much sensuality can change the way you move. So let's start with just our walk. We're walking around. This is a walk without any sort of awareness about our 5 senses, so using sensuality. And now let's start to bring awareness into our feet, into our toes. Really think about radiating energy through your toes, through the balls of your feet. Notice how that changes the deliberateness of your steps. And as soon as your steps change, seeing how that changes the rest of your body. Again, feeling the drag of the floor on your toes. And then bringing that sense of touch into your fingertips and your hands. Just by adding these 2 points of sensual awareness, our toes and our sense of touch on our hands, we have completely changed our walk from this to this. So now let's talk about the dip spin. Let's start to bring awareness to the weight of our head in our dip spin. So I'm playing with using my head to control my centripetal force. So now, just by paying attention to our head, we have transformed this dip spin to this dip spin. Let's add one final thing to pay attention to in our dip spin, and that is our legs. So in my first rendition of this dip spin, I'm going to pay attention to swinging my leg around. So using my outside leg to get that rotation around the pole. Using the outside leg to get the rotation around the pole. And now let's think about using our inside leg to get the rotation around the pole. So I'm going to think about twisting this leg to get that rotation. So I drive the balls of my feet into the floor, twist to get a rotation. And play around with how that might change your movement if we really bring all our awareness into that foot that's twisting into the floor. Now you can see how bringing awareness into these different parts of our body can really refine and change your movement. So we went from this to something more like this. If you want to get pole dancing tips straight to your inbox, make sure you sign up for my newsletter here. Trust me, you will not regret it. And you can check out part 2 of this lesson here. Let me know down in the comments what you thought of this lesson. I read all the comments. Thank you, I appreciate y'all. I'll see you next week.